Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Porsche Cup Challenge multi-class sports car racing. Today we're at Jerez as drivers getting ready to make their way out. It's a busy field, 23 drivers coming out here today. And for the first time, introducing myself, my name is James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second. As right now, it looks like drivers getting set for this main event. And let's go ahead and run through the grid. That's going to be Aiden Young starting on pole in the GTPs. Daniel Smith starting second. Carl Ribbing starting third. Leading the Porsche Cup Challenge class, we've got Jeff Seville starting first. Michael McLeod starting second. Dan McFarland starting third. In class, Michael Carrillo starting fourth. Julian Swanson will be starting fifth in class. We go back to Jason Linus starting sixth in class, ninth overall. Shannon Matharal starting 10th overall. Don Hunter starting 11th overall. Dan Morera starting 12th. Let's cycle it on back to Tyler Anderson starting 13th. Adam Schmidt starts 14th. Gary Watson starting 15th. Connor Tolman starting 16th. Young Choi starting 17th. Tyler Miraglia starting 18th. Damon Mitchell starting 19th. Eo Lima starting 20th. Jose Maria starts 21st. Charlie Pierre starting 22nd. And Emmanuel Ojo will start 23rd if he makes it out on track. Two different class drivers out on track. The GTPs and the Porsche Cup Challenge. We're going to try and move that track map. There we go. In the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, we're good to go as we follow behind our iRacing Safety Porsche. So 4 entries in the GTP class today and a whole lot. I mean, I'm seeing 18, 19 drivers and PCC making their way out. Now, Emmanuel did not take the grid, so he might be a DNS here. So hopefully he's able to get that thing fired up. But the iRacing Safety car comes down pit road, and let's get ready to get this party started. 3 GTPs, Charlie Pierre starting way in the back. Not quite sure what happened there, but the green flag is out for the GTPs. We pan back to the Porsche Cup class, and it's going to be a much busier, much more frantic turn 1. Jeff Seville is going to have his hands full in that number 3 machine diving into turn 1. He's chased by Michael McLeod, Dan McFarland, and we're seeing a report of Shannon Matharal might have lost connection here in our feature event. And I just heard somebody. That's Jason Lyons? No. Oh, we got more incidents. Young Choi having an incident. Spinning across the track, and that's Connor Tolman. And the number 22 machines finds himself pointed the wrong way around. Now, while this is going on, Charlie Pierre making moves in the 444, having to cut through the field here. He's the faster class GTP. Started at the back in this event, and he's going to have a wild ride here trying to cut through traffic. We're on board that 444 as he gets around 6th in class. Don Hunter. And showing a lot of aggressiveness here, working through the field. Now, this is not what your Porsche Cup class drivers want to see in this 50-lap main event. They want to try and keep the lap traffic to a minimum, as it is always a white-knuckle moment. But Pierre in the 444 playing it safe, not taking any risky chances here, as he has caught up to the class leaders, Jeff Seville, Michael McLeod. McLeod in the number 15 machine. And it looks like Pierre finally through all the PCC drivers. Great racing all across the track. Jason Lyons, the 340 machine, had that big early incident. It's fallen back down to 17th overall, 13th in class. And another incident being reported for Tyler Miraglia. Maybe a bit of an uphill battle for some of these drivers, as we're seeing them drop like flies out there. Let's check back in on Aiden Young. Started on pole, continues the lead here at Jerez. and has a very comfortable 9/10 advantage. Now, I'm not quite sure what the fuel window is going to be, as this is my first time calling the action at the Porsche Cup Challenge. So it looks like we got a few paints getting themselves corrected there, so that's good to see. We're focusing on Jeff Seville, that number 3 machine out front, but he's only got 3/10 over Michael McLeod. And another good battle, there it is for third in class, Dan McFarland, with Michael Carrillo tucked in right behind the 23 versus the 29, running third and fourth out on track. That was Julian Swanson we just saw with an off-track excursion, the gold and black number 51. Now, I've got to say, this is an easy race to call with pretty much everybody on track being in the Porsches here. So now Swanson's going to put his head down, trying to get up and around Dan Marrera, fighting back to 9th in class, but oh, a big blink there. Marrera's in a tough spot, has to be careful not to push too hard, not knowing where Swanson is going to reappear at. And great racing all across the track. Even if we go back to the battle for 18th in class in the PCC, Young Choi, who had problems early on, down 5 spots, has caught back up to Connor Tolman. But this is, I would still consider this almost quasi-endurance racing, a 50-minute feature event. Drivers have to be careful to make it till the end. And I just got word Aiden Young sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:25.35, so finding even more pace. And Michael Carrillo keeping the pressure on McFarland here, while class leader Jeff Seville in the PCC still holds about a half-second advantage over Michael McLeod, one of the admins here at the PCC series. I'm not quite sure why Aiden Young's showing up as the leading driver and class for both of the classes out on track. So a little bit of a glitch in the matrix there. As we pan further back to Adam Schmidt battling alongside Julian Swanson. That's going to be for 8th in class amongst our Porsche Cup Challenge drivers. They're going to maybe try and work together here for a little bit, see if they can pull themselves up towards the front. And I want to see if I can get a camera angle. Yes, I can. Michael McLeod catching back up to Jeff Seville. That gap was within 0.3 of a second. And McLeod all over the back of Jeff here. This is going to be the battle for the lead in class as well as 5th overall. These two drivers were within a 10th of each other last time by. And that was both their fastest laps of the race on lap 4. So they're getting a little bit more comfortable as the tires start to come in. And another battle going on. That's the battle for 3rd. They're right behind the race leaders, about 1.7 seconds back. Still, McFarland and Carrillo linked up, nose to tail. You can just see Motheral right behind, but we've got more problems. This time it's going to be, I believe, Damon Mitchell. Oh, and Gary Watson has an incident. Looks like the overall leader is starting to come through. And that is Jose Maria looking to the inside line here as they're side by side. Another battle going on. You've got, I believe that's going to be Sage A. No, it's Adam Schmidt and Julian Swanson also side by side. So we pan the camera a little bit further forward. I mean, everywhere we're looking, great racing going on. This is Adam Schmidt, Julian Swanson, Dan Marrera running 8th, 9th, and 10th in class. And then Watson and Maria can't help but lean on each other. Oh, we need multiple camera angles here. Look at this. We pan back to the battle for third. Carrillo and McFarland side by side. Carrillo shoots up the inside line, takes the position. And right behind them, even more side-by-side shenanigans. Swanson and Schmidt. Oh, is Schmidt going to try the inside line? Too far inside, dips it in the grass. That's going to give Marrera and the 404 machine a chance to fire back. Very impressed. My first time calling the action here at the Porsche Cup Challenge. These guys are putting on a very good show for the fans at home. Now Aiden Young. Oh, let's take that back. Don Hunter finds himself pointing the wrong direction off in the kitty litter here at Jerez. Let's get a replay queued up and see what just happened. We've got the replay queued up here to see what happened to Don Hunter and that number 4 machine. Is he going to get a little bit of help? Oh, and he will, as the GTP helps him give a little shove off the track. And unfortunately, Don Hunter is going to have quite an uphill battle from here as he tries to limp it back onto the surface. Back up front to Aiden Young in that 427 machine. Looks like that's going to be the class leaders of PCC right ahead. That's Jeff Seville, Michael McLeod. And I think Aiden Young's going to be very careful here. Already hearing reports of the other GTP drivers involved in contact that could involve the stewards taking a look at this at the end, but able to very briskly get through Seville and McLeod, who have stayed linked up together. We're 7 laps in, 9 minutes of this 50-minute race, and have been keeping it very, very clean. We pan the camera back as I think that's going to be Daniel Smith, the number 95 machine. I'm fairly certain it was Smith we saw involved in that earlier contact with the PCC drivers. That's another GTP driver that I would imagine going to be playing a little bit slower, a little bit safer when it comes to traffic management. So one driver has retired. Unfortunately, that is going to be Don Hunter, who had come down pit road. It's going to be interesting to see if he gets back out on track. He's been in his pit stall for 40 seconds so far, but hopefully we can see him get back out on track. And we've got more problems. Looks like Tyler Maraglia maybe involved in a bit of a self-spin there, but able to quickly right that car and get things going back. Oh, and I'm trying to see who that was. I think that was Choi, yes. Involved in another incident. I wonder if maybe Choi was involved in an incident, got on the binders and the brakes to let Maraglia back by in that 226 machine. Nothing but sportsmanship here at the Porsche Cup Challenge. But the problems are going to keep mounting. This time, Damon Mitchell goes off track. Mitchell running back 14th in class. Looks like that's going to give Connor Trollman a chance to close back up. Meanwhile, Choi has made his way around Maraglia in the battle for 16th in the PCC drivers. Maraglia looks to the inside line. Choi defends here. We go a little bit further up. Gary Watson involved in a heated battle with Lima in the 47. Watson in the monster painted livery. You can just see Maria in the Valvoline painted number 21 machine. I'm going to be interested to see how green flag stops might become a factor for these drivers as this race progresses. And let's see, as we pan back up front to the action to see how Aiden Young is managing the field. Aiden Young, he's got to be happy here. If you look at the track map on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, clean air in front and behind the 427. He's got a comfortable 5.5 second gap over second overall, second in class Daniel Smith. A whopping 18 seconds up over third place Carl Ribbing. So the field's starting to get stretched out in portions. But if we go back to Lima, still having a pretty fierce battle with Gary Watson. As with the GTPs, it's Young, Smith, Ribbing, and Pouillier. The top four, And PCC, it's Seville, McLeod, Carrillo. The top three with Motheral and McFarlane rounding out the top 5 in class. Now, our GTP class drivers, almost a full 20 seconds a lap faster than the absolute tippy top of the PCC field. So that is what makes those closing speeds so hectic, so exciting. As I say that, there's Julian Swanson taking a big look to the inside line of Tyler Sage. Trying to figure out how he's going to get in there, but man, there is not much room. And we had a report that Daniel Smith has a solo incident. Oh, as I say that, we've got problems with, I believe it's going to be Carl Ribbing and Julian Swanson. Let's take a quick peek at that one, see what happened between those two. So let's take a look to see what happens between Swanson, and it was Ribbing involved in that. Swanson way off track. And it looked like Carl Ribbing did the same, but they're not close to each other on track, so I think that's going to be a separate incident. And thankfully, no big incidents yet to speak of as they continue their battle. Still has a comfortable gap over Michael McLeod, about a full second, but we got to pan back as now it's Swanson and Schmidt battling for 7th in class. Oh, a big blink there from Swanson. That's going to put Schmidt in a precarious position. But these guys are top of their class, and they've got to be mindful. Here comes Leons. Jason Leons, number 340. Because you know what? Oh, as I say that, there's contact. There's net code between Lyons and Swanson. I believe that was net code. And Lyons is going to take over the 8th place spot. And unfortunately for Damon Mitchell, way down the standings, all the way down into 17th at this point. Didn't look like too much damage on that machine, so hopefully he's able to get things fired up. And we got a report, Julian Swanson, yes, takes a tow back to pit road, so he is going to be, I believe, out of this feature event. I would be surprised to see him come back out on track. So he's going to join the likes of Don Hunter, who unfortunately had to force into an early retirement in this event. We have 4 GTP drivers out on track. Still have 16 of our PCC drivers continuing their race. And Lima in a tough spot. He's got the overall leader, Aiden Young, right behind as Gary Watson goes off track. That is not what Aiden Young wants to see right now. He wants to be able to get through this field relatively uncontested, but he is going to very quickly be putting drivers several laps down. Being very mindful on how to pick his passes. Still great racing in the Porsche Cup Challenge. The quote-unquote slower class as Adam Schmidt has company from Jason Leons as they're going side by side, and I think that's Young right behind. So Young in a precarious spot here. Oh, and there's going to be contact, I think, between Aiden Young and Jason Leons, who goes off track. Let's get a quick replay queued up of that one. So keep an eye out on the bright red 340 of Jason Leons Oh, I can't tell if he turned in and didn't realize the GTP drivers were there. And he's going to get that thing fired up. Has the clutch kicked in immediately. And, oh, holds on to it. Well done. Almost craning up in front of the class. Oh, a very exciting rejoin. But thankfully, Leon's able to get back into the fight. Still a long way left to go. So it doesn't look like any damage on Aiden Young's 427, but every little bump we're finding him in could be an opportunity for Daniel Smith to make up ground once we start to hit the pit cycle here. Not quite to the halfway mark, because I think that was Jason Leon's having a frustrating evening as he loses another spot to Gary Watson. Leon's, I believe, comes down pit road. As we just saw Michael Carrillo off track, as well as there's a lot of drivers off track there. Michael McLeod also with an off-track excursion. Now Carrillo is going to have a chance for Motheral to close back up. Here comes Motheral. Oh, and that's going to be that's going to be Aiden Young cutting through. Aiden Young cutting through the field. Drivers will be shown the blue flag, letting them know that the class leaders are right there, but if you're involved in your own battle, there's not much you can do. Drivers focusing on their own race and trying to let the leaders by. The overall leader's kind of a secondary thought. As Aiden Young clicking off laps here. They put pretty much the entirety of the PCC field 2 laps down already. About 6 laps left to go before we reach the halfway mark. And it looks like we might have a battle for third in GTP starting to shape up. As Pierre putting the pressure on Carl Ribbing's 44 machine. Oh, and it's going to be big problems. Ribbing goes off track. Pierre's going to follow him into the grass. Oh, I think Ribbing, both drivers trying to limp it out of the gravel. Look how that car, I think that thing's crabbing pretty bad. Oh, I think Ribbing's going to be done here. I think he's going to pull back off and take a tow. Almost gets clipped by another driver, and both of the GTPs take a tow. Carl Ribbing, Charlie Pierre taking a tow back to pit road. That's just going to leave Aiden Young and Daniel Smith out on track for the GTP drivers. Young has about a 20-second gap over Smith. Jeff Seville on camera, first in class, 5th overall, might be able to work his way up into 3rd overall, an overall podium after Ribbing and Pierre take that tow back to pit road. A tough break for Charlie, and that 444 machine started at the very tail end of the field behind the other drivers. Worked his way up to 4th overall, was competing for 3rd. And then just has it pulled away from him here. Other notable battles out on track: Tyler Anderson, Adam Schmidt battling for 6th in class, 10th overall. And Adam Schmidt looks hungry here in the number 12, trying to track down the 115. looks like Schmidt takes a shot at it. And he's going to take that position away from Anderson. That's going to be the 4th spot gained overall, 5th in class for Adam Schmidt. As your overall race leader, Aiden Young just sets the fastest lap of the race on 1:25.28. Feeling good on the throttle. Both Young and Seville, the fastest laps of the race. As you can see in the live timing tower on the left side of your screen, the class leaders putting down some really fast lap times. And now with Ribbing and Poulier in pit road, that's going to put Jeff Seville up as your class leader, as well as 3rd overall here at Jerez. Oh, I see a lot of smoke. I think that might have been Damon Mitchell. As I think we're starting to see the tire wear become a factor for these drivers, as well as attrition just about to the halfway mark of today's main event. And we're seeing it blinking. I think Carl Ribbing has gotten back out on track. Yes, Ribbing and the 44 machine back out on track, as well as Poulier. So the 2 GTP drivers that were battling for 3rd overall able to rejoin, still showing 3rd overall. I'm going to wait for the live timing to update here and make sure that's accurate. But again, another point of how fast these GTP machines are, where Ribbing and Poulier can have both a massive incident, take a tow back to pit road, get back out on track, still be ahead of the PCC drivers. We check back in on Aiden Young, who has not had a chance to really breathe. It's been lap traffic everywhere you look for the 427. But about 40 seconds, we'll be at the halfway mark here this evening. As PCC drivers try and hop out of the way of the faster drivers. The big thing for these drivers, remember, is just hold a line, be consistent. And the faster class cars will work their way through. Excuse me, the field fairly stretched out here. One of the closest battles we have out on track. It's going to be for 3rd in class in PCC, Michael Carrillo, as Montherall closing the gap. Montherall closing the gap rather quickly. And number 19 is up 3 positions in class 2 overall, while Carrillo starting the exact same overall position he started, but has gained 1 position in class. Love the Shiner Brock livery on that number 19 machine as well. Carrillo holding on to it here, stretching the advantage back to about 6/10. You can also see, I believe that's Dan McFarland, number 23 machine, not too far back from these guys. We are officially past the halfway mark, so drivers being shown to cross the green and white flag, and we've got some green flag pit stops. Aiden Young comes down pit road. Now we think Young may have a little bit of damage on that machine. Let's see about Daniel Smith. We're going to keep an eye on the pit lane times. Now Poulier and Ribbing both spent about 2 minutes and 40 seconds in their pit stall getting repairs done. As now Daniel Smith also down pit road, heavy on the binders. Now one advantage that Carl Ribbing and Charlie Poulier will have here after that tow is they, I believe, should be good to go till the end of the race on fuel and tires. As Ribbing's starting to cut through that battle for 7th and 8th. There was Motheral, there is Carrillo. So let's see, Aiden Young was in and out of his pit stall in 21.3 seconds. Daniel Smith, a much longer stop. It's 29 seconds and counting. Is he getting damages repaired, or did he maybe get a speeding penalty? Oh, this is going to be an excruciatingly long stop for Smith. Michael Carrillo, who is running 3rd in class in the PCC, he's coming down pit road. Class leader Jeff Seville opting to stay out. Daniel Smith still in his stall. What has happened to Smith in the 95 machine? Surely it must be some sort of penalty. That is going to give Carl Ribbing a chance at 2nd here, despite having the tow down pit road. I'm curious to see when Jeff Seville, Michael McLeod, Shannon Motheral will come down pit road. Oh, and Charlie Pouillet, the problem's getting exponentially worse as he has another off-track excursion, but I mean, even Pouillet's race, not necessarily over, still has a shot at 3rd, as Daniel Smith, after a minute and a half, still in pit road. Smith finally leaving his pit stall. That must have been some sort of repairs needed on the number 95. He was involved in his fair share of contact, but that was Aiden Young that just went around. So Aiden Young has put the entire field 1 lap down here. So every GTP driver has come down pit road whether they wanted to or not. What I mean by that is either scheduled green flag stops or being involved in a big incident that involved them taking a tow. We're still waiting on majority of the PCC drivers to come down pit road. We got Michael Carrillo, he came down pit road on lap 16. Tyler Maraglia, he came down on lap 15. And other than that, the entire field staying out. As I say that, Motheral down pit road for his scheduled green flag stop. Michael McLeod opts to stay out, as well as Jeff Seville. Dan McFarland's going to move up to 3rd in class based on pit strategy. Now, Carrillo with his green flag stop, in and out in 13 seconds flat. Jason Lyons, a 13.62. Let's see what Motheral does here. Oh, it's going to be a long stop, 15.5 seconds. More PCC drivers having issues. That's Damon Mitchell in the number 27 machine as Connor Tolman comes down pit road. All eyes right now on Jeff Seville, Michael McLeod, Dan McFarland, your top 3. I just heard briefly over the radio, Jason Lyons in the 340 machine has taken a tow back to pit road. I heard some sort of explosive noise, a rapid deconstruction somewhere, but it did not get picked up by the broadcast software, so not quite sure what happened to Lyons there. So all the GTP drivers have come down pit road, and that's going to put Aiden Young a lap ahead of the rest of the field. Charlie Pouillet, Carl Ribbing had to take a tow after a big incident. Daniel Smith must have had some sort of mandatory repairs as he spent a minute and a half in his pit stall. Now Ribbing, last time by, a bit of redemption, set his fastest lap of the race, a 127.03. So driving with a little bit of fire in his eyes as he's running 3rd in class and 3rd overall. Damon Mitchell finds himself acquainted with the tire barrier here at Jerez. Let's see if he's able to get that thing fired back up as Connor Tolman rolls out of pit road, the number 22 machine. There we go. He's going to... So very wise there from Mitchell. Takes his time, looking out the window, talking to his spotter, as well as checking out his relative display, waiting for clean track before he crosses a hot track. Normally that's a huge no-no in racing, but waits for the go-ahead from his spotter as well as the corner workers and limps that machine down pit road. He's definitely going to need some repairs after he tags that tire barrier. Jeff Seville stretching the fuel run out here, as we've seen a few drivers, let's say about a handful, a spattering, if you will, of PCC drivers down pit road for their one and only scheduled stop. Michael McLeod, who is running second in class, he's down pit road. At the tail end of his 18th lap, Jeff Seville starts his 19th lap, while Aiden Young on his 22nd lap, the overall race leader. We've got a battle in GTP shaping up. Ribbing has company from Charlie Pierre. I mean, they both had excellent pace before they were involved in an incident together. And there's going to be lap traffic right ahead as they squirt through nose to tail. So far, so good for these drivers, but looking for an opening. Ribbing up the inside, Pierre follows. PCC drivers a little bit offline, but able to help facilitate that pass, and that's why it's so important for these drivers to not necessarily always practice hot lapping, but actually practice racing. So sometimes drivers will get off their preferred line, don't know where to go, what's going to happen, and find themselves in a pretty exciting moment. Now, as I say this, Daniel Smith, involved in an incident, takes a tow back to pit road. He's going to crash out of this event. Let's see what happened to Smith. We got the replay focused on Daniel Smith, who is running second overall, second in class. Pushes a little bit wide, maybe. Oh, no, there's going to be contact between himself and a PCC driver. And Smith absolutely pulverizes the front of that 95 machine, and he limps it off track, and unfortunately will be out of this race. Right as we pan back to Jeff Seville, that was Aiden Young making his way around once more. Don't want to hit Young with a commentator's curse here, but so far things have been going well for him. Able to really pick and choose when he's going to navigate traffic. And we're still waiting to see when Seville is going to come down pit road, stretching that run out further and further here. And there we go. As we say it, it is willed into existence. And Seville comes down pit road. Now, Michael McLeod came in on pit road on lap 19. Dan McFarland is going to stay out another lap. I think he's going to get the credit for the lap led here. And he's got, looks to be plenty of clean track around him. And with multi-class endurance, sometimes that's not an easy ask to find that clean air. Now, I do believe that was McFarland involved with that incident with Daniel Smith. Now, thankfully, I'm not race control. I don't have to assign any blame or any fault here. But that is a tough spot to be in for certain. It looks like Daniel Smith has put it back in the virtual hauler. And officially, Charlie Pierre has moved up to second. Carl Ribbing up into third. Again, unfortunately, Smith has retired from this event. Let's see what's going on with Jeff Seville after his lap 20 pit stop. Seville had a bad stop as well. He spent 38.3 seconds in his stall. It looks to be most other PCC drivers about a 12-second pit stop. Now, once the green flag stops are completed, we'll try and pull that up in the live timing to show everybody how this one shook down. But a lot of smoke up ahead of Seville. Now, Dan McFarland, who is leading the PCC drivers, he's down pit road for his one and only scheduled stop. That, I believe, is going to put Michael McLeod up into the race lead here. And again, comparison, Seville, 38.35 seconds in his box. McLeod, 11.5, if you round a little bit. Demerara also comes down pit road. As we watch Seville try and get around Choi in that number 8. McFarlane, a very quick pit stop, 10.2 seconds in the box. As Seville and Schmidt side by side. Schmidt trying to break away, but Seville keeping right there next to him. A mirror image of the number 3. Seville trying to carry the outside line, a little bit more speed. Adam Schmidt, the number 12, is going to get muscled out of the way. He falls back to 7th in class. So now the class leader, after these pit cycles have worked themselves through, it's Michael McLeod, who has a very comfortable 6.6 second advantage over Michael Carrillo. Carrillo about 8/10 up over Motheral, and Motherall's been charging through the field here and continues to do so, has very quickly closed the gap within a half second of Carrillo. So this could be the battle for 2nd in class and 6th overall. I'm only seeing one driver who has yet to box for PCC. That is Lima in the 47 machine, showing up 12 positions in class, 11 overall, but not sure how that's going to play out once he finally has to come down pit road. I mean, certainly they're not going to be able to make it on fuel or tires, as Michael McLeod moves up to 4th overall. As we see Daniel Smith starting to fall further down the board, it looks like, if I saw that correctly, Smith very briefly, no, he is officially done and out of this thing. Lima comes down pit road for that final pit stop. I believe this is going to be the final scheduled pit stop of the race, of drivers still out in contention. 16 drivers remaining out on track at this point. As Carrillo trying to fight and hold on to that 2nd place spot. Let's get it pulled up on the left side of your screen. You can see what the pit times were from these drivers. And show, ooh, what a hairy moment there is. Aiden Young blasting through the field. That was Carrillo and Motheral who are battling for 2nd in class, and around they go. Carrillo goes for a wild ride, gets a little bit of help from behind, and Motheral will aggressively take over the 2nd place spot. Here comes Dan McFarlane wanting to get into the mix. But we were trying to show the pit lane times and how detrimental that was to Jeff Seville, but things keep getting pretty out of control up here in the top 5. The PCC drivers have the elbows out. Ten minutes left to go in today's main event. It's Aiden Young, Charlie Pouillier, Carl Ribbing. The 3 GTPs still standing, leading the overall race, while Michael McLeod, Shannon Motheral, Michael Carrillo round out the top 3 for the PCC drivers. But that podium position still up for grabs as Dan McFarlane trying to put the hammer down. And Jeff Seville, who is the odds-on favorite to win this in that number 3 machine, finds himself over 12 seconds outside a possible podium position. Oh, as I say that, Michael McLeod might be snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, has a spin. And absolutely hemorrhaging time to Motheral. Losing about 8 seconds with that incident. Motheral closes the gap within 3 seconds, and he is closing fast. McLeod might have overheated the tires a little bit with that moment. Now we'll have to get with Michael after the race and make sure we're pronouncing that last name. I would believe that's McLeod. Could be McLeod. If so, that would be an apt name for where he's currently at on track. 4th overall. With those massive GTP moments we've seen so far tonight, I thought for certain we'd have a Porsche Cup Challenger driver up into the top 3 overall. Oh, and right behind your race leader, look at this. It's Carrillo and Montherol battling for second. Dan McFarland wants to get himself up into the fray as well. McFarland closing the gap quickly. On board with Dan McFarland, that number 23 machine. A bird's eye view of that very heated battle for second right ahead of him. Now, if Carrillo and Montherol battle too intently, that's going to be a result twofold. It's going to be Michael McLeod pulling away from Carrillo and Montherol, and that's going to put McFarland right back into the hunt for a podium points paying position. Oh, look at this. This is second, third, and fourth nose to tail in PCC. Drivers know they've got about 7 minutes left to go here. Carrillo trying to hold on to it. Any mistake, and he could not lose out on only second, but also the podium. And they've got faster drivers making their way behind. I'm trying to see. That is Pouillet and the 444 machine up 20 spots. What a story of redemption for Charlie and the 444. Looking for an opening here around these slower class drivers, knowing they're in a 3-car battle for second. He's got to quickly make that pass, able to do so. And I could just see McFarland trying to follow the faster class driver, looking for an opening, a bit of clean air, maybe a little bit of draft to pull his way up into second. I mean, Michael McLeod, after that huge moment that lost him 8 seconds, has to be thankful that it's such a fierce battle for second, third, and fourth, as I think that's going to be Carl Ribbing making his way through. And we have an incident reported for Jeff Seville. Looks like it's going to be a self-spin for the odds-on favorite. And unfortunately, just a frustrating night for Jeff. He was running so quickly, so consistently. And that pit road time has cost him dearly. Here we go, the battle for second underway. Montherol was within a 1/10 of a second of Carrillo. McFarland seems to be happy hanging back a little bit, maybe trying to take himself out of the vortex of danger. Oh, Montherol shoots to the outside, tries to carry a little bit of corner speed into the final corner, blows the corner. McFarland tags him, able to help straighten out Montherol, and Carrillo's going to have a 2-second and climbing breakaway here. How much damage is on Montherol and McFarland after that car-to-car contact? You can definitely see, I think that's the, oh, I think McFarland's got big damage here. Look at the hood on that number 23 machine. Let's see if we can get it on board. Doesn't look too bad from the onboard, but definitely a little bit of creasing. If he has any radiator damage, he's going to try and limp this thing home. Less than 5 minutes left to go. And Montherol, maybe not too many big incidents there. Montherol takes over the second place spot against Michael Carrillo, fighting back. So right now in PCC, it's McLeod, Motheral, Carrillo, McFarland and Schmidt make up the top 5 in class. For GTP, it's the 3 remaining racers: Aiden Young, Charlie Pouilliere, Carl Ribbing. 1, 2, 3 overall as well in class. And again, you got to give Aiden Young the credit where it's due here. Has put a lap on the entirety of the field here at Jerez. And we get ready to click it up. It's 3 minutes left. Oh no, Dan McFarland is coming down pit road. He's got too much damage. Has to get that machine fixed. McFarland is running so well in that number 23 machine. We'll try and keep eyes on him. And as we do, you just saw, yep, there it is, Aiden Young passing McFarland, who's on pit road. With a little bit less than 3 minutes left to go, I think we've got maybe, I think the white flag might be coming out next time by for Young. I think McFarland might have just served a drive-through penalty. McFarland never came down his stall, so I wonder if that contact was enough to put him over an incident limit. And as I say that, McFarland's going to have company. That's Adam Schmidt, Jeff Seville. A couple of fast drivers who want to work their way up higher in the standings. McFarland in that 4th place spot. These guys are out here battling for points, so expect a big send from Schmidt. Takes a peek to the inside line. The door is shut off from McFarland. And now Seville with the checkup in front of him. He's going to return the favor. Seville up the inside line against Schmidt. Schmidt closes the door. I think McFarland's about to hammer down here. If that car can make it till the end, we're going to find out. A minute and a half left in this main event. Oh, and as I say that, Seville, the problems complicate as he takes an off-track excursion. Losing a spot to Morera there. Gotta be frustrating. Oh, look, there's the 2 class leaders, Aiden Young, Michael McLeod. McLeod will go another lap down here to Young, the 427. But despite that big moment, still maintains a 3.4 second margin over Motheral. But we saw how much time he lost. And I believe the checker is going to be out next time by for Young. He's got 45 seconds or about 0.6 of a lap. It's going to be close to see if they have to turn another lap here. I think McLeod hoping for the checker. He wants this thing to be done to be able to lock up a win, because Motheral closing the gap has got it within 3 seconds of McLeod. But I think McLeod's going to go into kind of cruise control here and just focusing on make it till the end. 25 seconds. Young has 0.3 of a lap here. What's it going to be? Are we going to go one more lap, or are we going to see the checkered at the end of lap 34? I think we're going to see the checkered here. Yes, the checkered flag will be thrown for Aiden Young. And he will pick up a dominant win. First in class, first overall, and has put a lap on the entirety of the field here. And he's already bouncing that thing off the limiter, putting on a show for the fans. And there's Michael McLeod celebrating in style. Oh, and a little bit of post-race, how you doing? And Aiden Young gonna enjoy an absolute dominant win here. Well, let's go ahead and run through the finishing results here at the Porsche Cup Challenge. With GTP, out of the 4 drivers that had entered, 3 finished. It's Aiden Young in the top spot, a full lap ahead of the rest of the field. Charlie Pouilliere finishing 2nd, Carl Ribbing finishing 3rd, and Daniel Smith will finish 4th in class. And let's check in on our PCC drivers. Michael McLeod, we'll work on that one, is finishing first in class. Shannon Motheral finishes second, and Michael Carrillo will round out the top three. On behalf of the Porsche Cup Challenge, great multi-class sports car racing, my name has been James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for tuning in, supporting the drivers, supporting the league, as well as supporting the broadcast, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.